Now, without further ado, I want to go ahead and start the first talk today, which happens to be my talk about fantastic beasts that is the international tech media that you might need to work with as a startup. I'm not sure if the clicker is actually working, or I am just... Nope. 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 Can we try it? Thank you. Yeah, that's the one I did. Okay. So, here are the fantastic beasts, and let's talk about international tech media today and the ways to work with international tech media for startups and also other IT companies. I hope if you already work with international media, then you know the faces on the cover slide of this talk. If you don't, then it's kind of bad news, but you can come to me later and I will introduce you to this fine ladies and gentlemen. So let's start with a bit about myself. Who am I and why actually I am talking about this? And this thing just keeps acting weird. Nope. It only works in Elena's hands. Anyway, I was going to talk about who I am. So, as I said, my name is Andrey. I'm Ukrainian, but I currently live in Amsterdam and work in a startup accelerator called Rockstart. We are doing different acceleration programs both in the Netherlands and in South America and also in some other parts of the world. I am doing communications mostly and also all sorts of community building activities. But before that, I spent about 10 years working as a journalist, either a freelancer or working for major publications, writing about technology, about startups, and all things in between. I have written for the Next Web, for Ars Technica UK, and other places, and I believe that since I have been on both sides of media relations, I kind of was able to learn something that could be useful for people in the audience today. So before we get the presentation fixed, I guess I can just continue. The first thing, if there were like one slide and one message that I wanted you to take away from this talk, it would be that every media strategy, every campaign even starts with setting the goals. Whatever you do, be always aware of what the goal is and what exactly you want to achieve with your work, with your media strategy. First comes the goal. Then comes the audience that is derived from this goal. For example, the goal can be very different. The goal can be fundraising. The goal can be getting more users to your product. The goal could be getting more I don't know, all sorts of things really, or maybe you need to get more attention from partners. Okay, now this is working, and this is the slide actually I wanted to get to. Thank you. So all starts with the goals. Then from that, the audience is derived. So, for example, if your goal is to attract funding, then your audience obviously is investors. When you have understood what sort of audience you are going to target, from there you can go two ways, and it doesn't really matter which way you go. You will get exactly the same result. You can either decide which media you target first, or you can decide what kind of story you want to tell this audience that you have just figured out. If you decide to go with the media first, then your question is what kind of media your audience is reading or watching or listening to. If it is investors, then probably it's going to be certain things like Financial Times or Wall Street Journal, all sorts of financial related tech media that caters to venture capital industry. From there, you go to the story. So what sorts of stories this media actually run, what kind of stories your audience want to read or watch or listen to. So this also obviously can go the other way around. You can start with the story, so what stories your audience want to see, and then from there you go to the media. So which media would care about this kind of stories? This doesn't matter as long as you have this workflow in your system, and you stay put, and you manage to remember about it all the time. What comes next is this also is applicable to anything, not necessarily to media strategies, but start early and be on top of things, because media strategy is not something that you can build within 1 week or even 1 month. So whenever you understand that you are going to need to talk to journalists, you are going to need to create a media strategy and convey your message through different media outlets. Start thinking about your strategy and start building things, because the earlier you start, the better the results are going to be. Mm-hmm. Is it me? I think it's me. It just won't work in my hands. Right, doesn't matter. I can get the presentation on my phone, and I will just see what slide is next, and we'll talk about it until we get this thing fixed. Here we go. The next message is try to be where the journalists are, and that goes for both online and offline presence. First of all, if we're talking about offline presence, then you want to be at conferences, for example, where the journalists go. If we're talking about online presence, you want to be, for example, active in the comment section of the publications that you are targeting, or if there is a forum or any sort of discussions on their Facebook or Twitter pages, be active there. So engage in conversations and try to be active and build a relationship with the people that you care about. In this case, journalists. And the next one, be active on contributor platforms, and that means find your niche. This guy did a good job. The contributor platforms is a very useful tool in media relations today, because so many tech publications have established their own platforms to get insights from industry professionals who basically can submit their posts on these platforms and get the exposure this way. Examples, for example, would be to go on the Next Web contributors page, or TechCrunch's Crunch Network, or Forbes, which is just one big contributor platform, or Engadget with its public access, and there are quite many of those, and there will be more of those because media are short on resources and they really are interested in quality content coming from industry professionals. If you are one, don't waste your potential in this, and try to get to these contributor platforms and share your knowledge with the people who are interested in it. Then build trust. Trust is a very important part of working with the media, because it also goes for contributor platforms and normal journalistic products, because there are so many people who try to break the rules. There are so many people who try to abuse their status of contributors on one hand, and also try to abuse their relationships with journalists on the other hand. Just be a human being. First of all, be a human being. Talk to the journalist as a human being and not as a PR machine who always wants to run something, convey a message, and do stuff like that. This is a general rule of thumb that, again, not only applicable to media relations, but to every part of your work and life. Just don't forget about it next time when you meet a journalist. Then come the tools. There are quite a bunch of tools, and there are more and more on the market that that are tailored especially for media communications professionals to make their lives easier and free their time to do more creative thing and less routine. The paid example of paid tools that I give here are Meltwater, PR.co, and Mockrack. So Meltwater is a tool that basically allows you to automate all the process of media monitoring and finding the right influencers, finding the right journalists who cover the topics that you care about. PR.co started as just a newsroom, online newsroom where you can publish your press releases on, but right now they also have a distribution service, and they have just launched a very interesting project called I'm not sure what it's called actually. It's a beta version of a new service that allows you to upload your press release, and then it will analyze the media landscape and try to predict which journalists would be the most interested in this particular release. I do suggest you try it. I do recommend it, but of course these services cost money. And for example, Meltwater costs a lot of money, really, and you need to consider and do your math and understand whether it's going to be a good investment on your side. I would still recommend to talk to these people though and understand what the opportunities are and try it if possible and see whether it suits you. There are also a lot of free tools that might be a bit less convenient, might take a bit more time to get a hang of, but they're free. That includes, first of all, Google Search, which is a very powerful tool for a media relations professional. With custom tailored search queries, you can get pretty much the same results as you would from Meltwater or Mockrack. You just need to look for the topics you care about, but limit the time of your search and limit the media that you search on. Then there is Twitter with about the same goals. You look for people, you look journalists up, you look at whatever they discuss. On Twitter, you understand what sort of agenda they have and what kind of topics they care about. And then RSS feeds is something that you also should set up early on in order to understand what kind of stories are being run by the media that you target and by the media that you care about. Try to just read them daily to understand what kind of messages you can convey, what kind of stories that you send them they would care about. Just be aware of whatever is going on around you. Before sending your pitches to journalists, just look them up quickly to check whether they are actually active at the moment. Pretty often, if you just look up someone's Twitter or Facebook, you will see that they are, for example, on vacation. This means that the timing is not right to reach this particular person, and most probably your email will not get read anytime soon. Then another thing that happened to me quite a few times: you think that someone is working in a particular publication, and then you check their Twitter or LinkedIn or whatever it is, and you see that they are actually not there. Believe me, there is nothing more annoying than getting pitches that definitely relate to your previous workplace. Don't do this if you do not want to spoil your relationship with that particular person. Do not ignore generic email addresses that different publications have. That goes for addresses like tips@techcrunch.com or news@thenextweb.com. Most of people that I talk to think for some reason that these addresses are not monitored, no one reads these, and they go straight to trash can. That is actually not true. A lot of news outlets that I have worked with really read whatever comes to these inboxes, and one of my recent announcements, for example, was picked up by TechCrunch through this generic email address. So don't forget to target these email addresses in your outreach as well. Always focus on the product, and that is less relevant for startups and more relevant for kind of service companies and whatever infrastructure players you are. For example, like I work for an accelerator, but I see that lately fewer and fewer people care about accelerators. And this means that what you want to talk about in most cases is actual startups, actual founders, actual people who do things. Try to focus on this and not on your role in it, not on the support that you provide and so on. The more you're focused on the product, the bigger is the chance that your story is going to be covered. Get the timing right. There is no way to predict everything, but there is always a way to try and foresee what's going to happen within the next week or two on the news landscape. There are news announcements that are planned in advance. There are press conferences by bigger companies like Facebook or Google or Apple that are planned in advance, and you don't want to run your news at the same time. Make sure that there are no major conferences going on in the world that would be covered extensively by the media, because in this case, again, those will have priority. And make sure that there are no big earning calls that are going to be covered. And be always prepared to answer additional questions from the journalists. If the story that you send to the media really draws someone's attention, most probably they will want to know more. So put together some bonus material, product details, some numbers and stats of your company, if you're talking about a company, additional quotes from the speakers, and have them ready in order to send it back to the journalists that will be asking additional questions. The faster you do this, the better it's going to work. That's about it. I tried to be on time. I guess I succeeded. We have 2 more minutes for, I guess, 2 more questions. Thank you. Wait for a mic.
Hi. What did you mean by contributor platforms or pages? What is it exactly?
Okay, a contributor platform is something that a lot of news media have now established. That's basically a blogging platform for third-party contributors, for industry experts that can just blog on a platform of the media. And in many cases, including TechCrunch, for example, these posts go to the general main news feed. So try to get there and be active there.